I saw her face on the security monitor, and my stomach dropped like I just crested the highest point on a roller coaster. Ashley Mendez, ex-con, criminal record, hired to teach my staff a lesson. Except the lesson she was about to teach wasn't the one I'd paid for. That moment, standing in my office at Pinnacle Marketing Solutions, watching her walk through the lobby like she owned the place, I didn't know yet that everything I'd built was about to implode. I didn't know that my desperation, my anger, my stupid decision to hire a fixer would unravel the entire narrative I'd been telling myself about who I was and what I deserved. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. 3 months earlier, everything looked perfect. I'm Michael Torres, 42 years old, married to my high school sweetheart Jennifer for 16 years, 2 kids, Emma, 14, and Lucas, 11, in a 4-bedroom colonial in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, the kind of house with a 3-car garage and an HOA that made sure everyone's lawn looked like a golf course. My company was doing well. Really well. We'd just landed the Cascade Bank account, $2.3 million in annual revenue, and I was on track to hit $18 million in total billings for the year. From the outside, I was living the dream. Jennifer and I had just celebrated our anniversary with a weekend in the Columbia River Gorge. We stayed at this ridiculous resort hotel with a hot tub overlooking the water. She'd worn that blue dress she knew I loved, and we'd laughed until our sides hurt at some stupid joke Lucas had made before we left. That's what I remember. That's what I held on to. The office itself was something I'd built from nothing. Started out of my garage in 2008, just me and my laptop, scrounging for freelance clients. By 2024, Pinnacle occupied the entire 3rd floor of the Meridian building downtown. 32 employees, modern glass and steel, standing desks, a kitchen with a $6,000 espresso machine that Brandon, my creative director, insisted on. Ping pong table. The whole startup aesthetic, even though we weren't a startup anymore. My team was young, hungry, talented. Brandon, 29, had won industry awards. Jessica in accounts was meticulous, sharp. The junior designers and copywriters all wanted to be there. Or at least, that's what I thought. That's what the performance reviews said. That's what their LinkedIn posts about amazing culture and best place to work claimed. But here's the thing about running a company that's growing fast. You stop knowing everyone. You stop actually managing. You become this abstract figure who shows up in meetings and makes decisions that affect people's lives without really understanding the weight of it. You become a boss instead of a leader. And somewhere along the way, you become blind. It started small. Jennifer mentioned it first, actually. We were at a dinner party, the Hendersons, our neighbors, nothing fancy, and she pulled me aside in the kitchen. "One of your employees followed me on Instagram today," she said, refilling her wine glass. "Which one?" I asked, not really paying attention. I was thinking about a presentation I had to give the next morning. "I don't know. Someone named Taylor. They have a private account, so I couldn't see much, but it felt weird. Why would someone from your office be trying to follow me?" I probably rolled my eyes. "It's just social media, Jen. People follow people." But she was right to feel weird about it. I just didn't know that yet. The real problem came to a head on a Tuesday morning in early November. I was in my office, corner spot, floor-to-ceiling windows, view of the Willamette River, when Brandon knocked and asked if we could talk. His face was pale. He sat down without waiting for an invitation. "We need to have a serious conversation about the workplace environment," he said. My stomach did that thing where it tightens before you even know why. "Okay," I said slowly. "What's going on?" "There's been a lot of talk, complaints. People are uncomfortable, Michael. Really uncomfortable." "Complaints about what? About me?" He shifted in his seat. "About the culture, about how things are run, about some of the younger staff feeling pressured, unsafe even." The word unsafe hit different. That's when I should have leaned in, asked questions, really listened. Instead, I got defensive. "That's ridiculous," I said. "We have policies. We have an HR person. If someone felt unsafe, why didn't they come to me directly?" Because you're the boss, Brandon said quietly. And sometimes it's hard to go to the boss when you're worried about retaliation. I told him I appreciated his concern, but that I didn't see evidence of any real problems. I said people were probably just stressed because of the workload on the Cascade bank account. I said maybe we should do a team building event. He left my office looking disappointed. Within 2 weeks, Jessica in accounts gave her notice. No explanation, just 2 weeks. Then one of the junior designers quit via email. An actual email, not even a conversation. The subject line was resignation. Just that one word. When I called Jessica into my office to try to understand what was happening, she was professional but distant. Is it money? I asked. Is it the hours? No, Michael, it's not about that. Then what is it? Help me understand. She took a long breath. I don't think you want to understand. I think you want people to be happy so you don't have to feel bad about running this place like a machine. That stung. But instead of sitting with that sting, instead of actually asking what she meant, I got angry. That's not fair, I said. I've been nothing but good to this team. You've been absent, she replied. That's different than being good. After she left, I sat at my desk for a long time, staring at the river. My hands were shaking. The thing is, I was starting to realize something was broken. But I didn't want to look directly at it. I didn't want to investigate. I just wanted it to go away. So I did what a lot of powerful men do when they're scared. I looked for someone else to blame. I found myself in a lawyer's office 2 weeks later, sitting across from David Chen, a divorce attorney whose business card probably cost more than my monthly car payment. The walls were lined with books on family law, and there was a framed photo of his own family on the desk. Wife, 2 kids, golden retriever. The kind of life that looked exactly like mine. Walk me through the timeline again, David said, clicking his pen against his legal pad. I'd already told him the story twice, but I started over. The complaints Brandon mentioned, Jessica quitting. The email resignation, the general sense that everything was falling apart at the office, and I couldn't figure out why. Has anyone filed a formal complaint with HR? David asked. Not that I know of. That's the thing. Everyone's just leaving. No explanations. David leaned back in his chair. He was probably 15 years older than me, the kind of guy who'd seen everything and was surprised by nothing. Michael, I'm going to be straight with you. It sounds like you've got a workplace morale problem, but you didn't come here to talk about your marketing firm. He was right. I hadn't. I'd come because Jennifer had suggested it, carefully, like she was suggesting I see a therapist. 3 weeks ago, she'd found me at 2 a.m. in the basement, sitting in the dark, drinking whiskey straight from the bottle. She hadn't said anything. She'd just sat down next to me and waited. I think there's something else, I said finally. Something I'm not seeing. Okay, tell me. So I told him about the Instagram thing with Taylor. How it seemed small at the time. How Jennifer had felt weird about it. How I'd dismissed it. David's expression shifted, just slightly. But I caught it. Has anyone else mentioned anything unusual? Any interactions that felt off? I thought about it. Really thought about it for the first time. My daughter, I said quietly. 2 weeks ago, Emma asked me why someone from my work was being weird to her online. I asked what she meant, and she said it wasn't a big deal. Just some older person commenting on her posts in a way that made her uncomfortable. She blocked them. I didn't follow up. David set his pen down. Michael, I need you to understand something. If there's a pattern here, if someone from your office is targeting your family or making inappropriate contact with your employees or their families, that's not a management problem. That's a legal problem. My mouth went dry. You're saying someone is. I'm saying you need to find out who it is, and you need to document everything. Get your IT person to pull logs, talk to your employees directly, find out if anyone else has experienced unwanted contact, and you need to do it quietly, because if this is what I think it might be, you're going to need evidence. I left his office feeling like I was walking underwater. The hallway seemed longer than it should have been. The elevator ride down felt like it lasted an hour. When I got back to the office, I did something I should have done weeks ago. I called an all-hands meeting. 32 people crammed into the main conference room. Brandon was there, Jessica's empty chair glaring at me from the back. The energy was tense, weird. People on their phones, not making eye contact. I need to ask you all something, and I need you to be honest, I said. Has anyone experienced inappropriate contact from someone in this office? Online, in person. Anything that made you uncomfortable? The silence was so complete, I could hear the air conditioning hum. Then, a hand went up. One of the junior designers, a girl named Sophie, maybe 24 years old. Her face was pale. I got DMs from someone, she said quietly. At first, it seemed normal, work stuff, but then it got personal. They were asking about my life, my relationships, and when I didn't respond, they started, I don't know, commenting on everything I posted, following my close friends. It felt like someone was watching me. Another hand. Then another. 4 employees in total. 4 people who'd been contacted inappropriately. 4 people who'd been too scared to say anything. Who was it? I asked. They all looked at each other. We don't actually know, Brandon said. That's the thing. They were using a burner account, but based on the things they knew, internal stuff, details about our projects, it had to be someone from the office. I felt my world tilt. Did anyone report this to HR? Sophie shook her head. We were scared. What if they retaliated? What if they had access to more of our personal information? I dismissed everyone and called my IT director, a guy named Marcus, into my office. Told him what I needed. Full audit, I said. Every email, every message, every log. I need to know who's been accessing employee social media information. I need to know if anyone's been hacking accounts or using company resources to stalk anyone. Marcus's face went white. That's a serious accusation, he said. I know. That's why I need to know if it's true. 3 hours later, Marcus came back to me with the answer. It was Linda Chen, our HR director. The person who was supposed to protect employees had been systematically targeting them. She'd created multiple fake accounts. She'd accessed employee files and used personal information to build a profile on each target. She'd been documenting everything, screenshots of social media, notes on their routines, their families. In her work computer, Marcus found a spreadsheet. 30 names. With notes. This is insane, Marcus whispered, showing me the screen. But it wasn't insane. It was calculated. It was cold. And it had been happening for at least 6 months. I sat in my office for a long time after that, staring at the river. My hands weren't shaking anymore. They were numb. I called the police. I called my lawyer. I called Jennifer and told her to change the locks on all our social media accounts and to watch Emma and Lucas carefully. And then I realized something that made my blood run cold. Linda had been in my office. She'd seen my calendar. She knew my schedule. She knew when I'd be home and when I wouldn't be. She knew where my family lived. I called Jennifer again. Don't let the kids leave the house, I said. I'm coming home right now. Michael, what's happening? You're scaring me. Just do it, please. I'll explain when I get there. I was walking toward the elevator when I saw her, Linda, coming out of the supply room. She saw me at the same time. For a second, we just looked at each other. She smiled. Not a normal smile. Something else. Something that told me that whatever was happening, it was far from over. Going somewhere? She asked. Going somewhere? She asked. Her voice was smooth, almost friendly. The kind of voice that would sound normal to anyone walking past. But I could feel the weight underneath it. The satisfaction of being caught, as if she'd been waiting for this exact moment. I stopped walking. My car keys were in my pocket. My phone was in my hand. Everything I needed to leave was right there, but my feet wouldn't move. Linda, I said, keeping my voice level, we need to talk. Do we? She stepped closer, and I realized Marcus was still in my office behind me, watching this through the glass wall. Good. Witnesses. I thought you'd figured it out by now. That's why you're leaving, right? Running home to protect your family? The police are coming, I said. To the office, to collect evidence from your computer. She smiled that same smile. My computer. Right. Which computer would that be, Michael? The one at my desk? Or the one at home? Or the one I've been using at the library for the last 3 months? My stomach dropped. You think you're clever, I said. But this ends now. Does it? She tilted her head, studying me like I was a lab rat. You know what your problem is? You think everything can be solved by being angry, by calling lawyers and police, by running. But you never actually look at why people do what they do. I don't care why you did this. Yes, you do. You're curious. I can see it in your face. She stepped even closer, and I forced myself not to back away. You want to understand. You want to make sense of it. Because if you can make sense of it, maybe you can prevent it from happening again. Marcus appeared in the doorway behind her, phone in his hand. He'd been recording the whole conversation. Smart kid. Linda Chen, I said loudly for the recording. I'm asking you to step away from me. Or what? You'll fire me? She laughed. A real laugh, not angry or bitter. Just amused. I already quit, Michael. Sent my resignation email to everyone at 2 p.m. You were in your lawyer's office, so you didn't see it yet. But everyone else did. She pulled out her phone and showed me. Sure enough. Subject line. I'm leaving Pinnacle Marketing Solutions effective immediately. The body of the email was blank, except for one line. Ask Michael Torres about the spreadsheet. Ask him who he hired to fix his problems. Because that's the real story. I felt the ground shift beneath me. What did you do? I asked. What did I do? She laughed again. What did you do, Michael? That's the question everyone's going to be asking. Because in about 30 seconds, they're all going to open their email, and they're going to see the attachment I sent. Marcus, don't let anyone open, I started. But it was too late. From the main office, I heard it. Gasps. Someone saying, "Oh my God!" Brandon's voice, loud and clear. Michael, you need to see this right now. Linda walked past me toward the conference room, and I followed her like I was in a trance. The entire staff was gathered around someone's monitor. The email was open, and in the attachment was a document titled Communication between Michael Torres and Marcus Chen regarding HR investigation. Except it wasn't a real document. It was fabricated, every word. Fake emails between me and Marcus, discussing how to cover up Linda's behavior, how to make her the scapegoat, how to protect the company's reputation. That's not real, I said, my voice barely a whisper. Of course it's not, Linda said calmly, but that doesn't matter anymore. That email just went out to all 32 employees, plus I CC'd it to the Department of Labor and the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries. So now there's an official record of it. They're going to investigate. They're going to find nothing, obviously, but the damage is already done. I looked at Brandon. His face was pale. Jessica, who'd quit, had just texted him back into the group chat. She was asking what was happening. Everyone was asking. You're insane, I said to Linda. Maybe, she said, but I'm not the one who's about to lose everything. That's when Officer Morrison walked in. He had Linda's arrest warrant printed out, and he read her rights while she stood there, still smiling. She didn't resist, didn't say another word, just held out her wrists for the cuffs and let him lead her out of my office. But the damage was already done. Within an hour, every major client in Portland knew something was wrong. The Cascade bank account called me directly. They'd heard rumors and wanted clarification. I tried to explain that the emails were fabricated, that we were investigating, that everything was fine. They pulled the contract anyway. $2.3 million, gone. Jennifer picked up the kids from school early. I drove home in a daze, and when I got there, she was sitting at the kitchen table with both kids, her face carved from stone. Emma saw something online, Jennifer said quietly. Someone shared the fake emails. Her friends are texting her. Mom, is Dad going to jail? Lucas asked. He was 11 years old and genuinely scared. No, I said. No, sweetheart, it's complicated, but no. I didn't know if that was true. The next week was a blur of lawyers, police interviews, and damage control. Linda was charged with multiple counts: stalking, harassment, computer fraud, identity theft. The fake emails were traced back to her home computer. She'd created them specifically to destroy me, knowing that even when they were proven false, the reputation damage would be irreversible. And she was right. Pinnacle Marketing Solutions didn't survive. Within 2 weeks, half the staff had resigned. 3 clients terminated their contracts. The final nail came when the Oregonian ran a story. Local marketing firm embroiled in HR scandal and employee harassment. The article was technically fair. It noted that the harassment had come from our HR director and that the fake emails appeared to be retaliation. But the headline was what mattered. And the headline made me look guilty. I shut down the company on December 15th, gave everyone 2 months severance. It wiped out almost all the savings I'd been building for the kids' college funds. Linda went to trial in March. I testified. So did Brandon, Jessica, Sophie, and the other employees she'd targeted. The evidence was overwhelming. She was convicted on 5 counts and sentenced to 3 years in prison. Afterward, I asked to speak with her. My lawyer said it was a bad idea. I did it anyway. She was in the holding cell, waiting to be transferred. When she saw me through the glass, she smiled again. "You're still trying to understand," she said. It wasn't a question. "Why?" I asked. "Just tell me why." She leaned forward. "Because I worked in HR for 23 years, Michael. 23 years of watching managers like you, managers who built empires and treated people like they were disposable. Jessica quit because you made her feel like a machine. Sophie felt unsafe because you created an environment where no one mattered. And every time someone complained, nothing happened, because you didn't care enough to look. So you decided to destroy me?" "No," she said. "I decided to make you look, really look. And you did. But only after it was too late to fix anything. I left without saying anything else. The next 6 months were the hardest of my life. Jennifer and I went to couples therapy. Emma stopped blocking people online and started talking to a school counselor. Lucas's grades improved once he realized his father wasn't going to jail. We sold the house in the suburbs. The HOA kept sending bills even though we were leaving, and bought a smaller place in Northeast Portland. I took a job as a marketing director for a nonprofit. The pay was 40% of what I'd made at Pinnacle. The hours were better. The people were kind. One Tuesday in September, Brandon called me. He'd started his own agency, and he wanted me to come back as a partner. 45% equity. "We'd rebuild," he said. "Do it right this time." I said yes. But I said yes differently than I'd have said it before. I asked about his family, his mental health, whether he was happy. And when he told me he was burned out from the old place, I told him to take a month off before we started. I meant it. That's what I learned from Linda Chen, sitting in that holding cell. Not that people are evil, not that systems are broken, though they are, but that the people you lead are watching you. They know whether you see them. And if you don't, if you're too busy building your empire, they'll find a way to make you pay attention. I just wish I'd learned it before everything fell apart.